The music is from West Side Story, an exciting modern version of Romeo and Juliet. Romeo is Tony, former leader of a street gang. Juliet is Maria, a Puerto Rican girl. Mercutio is Riff, leader of the Jets. In the new version, the barrier that separates the lovers is the suspicion and hatred between racial groups on New York's West Side. The newly arrived Puerto Ricans and the older immigrants. The skirmishes are fought not with swords in the streets of Verona, but by teenage gangs with switchblades on the streets of New York. The lovers struggle to realize their love, to reach each other across the gulf that only this love can bridge.
CBS Television presents Look Up and Live. Today, the final program in a 5-part series on contemporary theater and religion, the current Broadway musical West Side Story, with director-choreographer Jerome Robbins and Carol Lawrence, Larry Kert, and Mickey Callan from the Broadway cast. Our host is the Reverend Sidney Lanier.
The past few weeks, we've been investigating the relationship of contemporary theater and contemporary religion, seeing if they tread any common ground. We wanted to know if they can help one another in coping with the perplexities of an age that is groping and searching. And we found that the theater is concerned with significant problems, that it can ask questions and state problems with great power and effectiveness. Today, in the last of our series, we consider the most popular form of contemporary American theater, the musical comedy. The musical is the very exciting West Side Story, a story of unlucky love, of violent fun, of teenage frustration erupting into tragedy. It shows a special American problem in a specially American way, set to fine music and inspired dancing. It's a completely entertaining show. Jerome Robbins, whose basic idea it was and who directed and choreographed the entire production, is here with members of the cast to talk with us this morning. Mr. Robbins, or Jerry, if I may, how did you happen to bring this very delightful play on the basis of the Romeo and Juliet story? How did you happen to bring it into the West Side on the streets of New York?
Well, the main way it was brought was through the work and collaboration of the other people involved in working on the show. Arthur Lawrence, who wrote the book, Leonard Bernstein, who did the music, and Steve Sondheim, who did the lyrics. We all worked together to bring this about. The original idea came from reading the script of Romeo and Juliet and trying to find out how I could make it a contemporary, alive project, and suddenly realized great parallels between the passion and temper of the adolescence of old Verona and the passion and temper of today.
You had the problem of conflict. Any dramatic show does. What is how did you set up the conflict for today in this play?
Well, in the original, the feuding factors are the Montagues and the Capulets, and it's a family feud. This has been paraphrased into two gangs. One is the native-born American, the Jets, and the other are the Puerto Rican or island-born Americans, the Sharks. And the gang members feel as strong and as committed to these gangs as the original Montague and Capulets did.
Well, I believe there's a song in the show. In fact, I know there's a song in the show that Mickey Callan sings as Mercutio, or well, in the Shakespeare version as Riff, leader of the gang. In this version, that sort of explains a lot about these gangs and the problems and conflicts and so forth. Suppose we ask Mickey to sing it for us right now. Mickey Callan.
When you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. When you're a jet, if the spit hits the fan, you got brothers around, you're a family man. You're never alone, you're never disconnected. You're home with your own. When company's expected, you're well protected. Then you are set with the capital J, which you'll never forget till they caught you away. When you're a jet, you stay a jet. jet, you're the top cat in town. You're the gold medal kid with the heavyweight crown. When you're a jet, you're the swingin'est thing. Little boy, you're a man. Little man, you're a king. We're drawing the line, so keep your noses hidden. We're hanging a sign, says visitors forbidden, and we ain't kidding. Here come the jets, yeah, and we're gonna beat every last craze gang on the whole crummy street, on the whole ever loving street.
How do you feel in singing this song? It's a production. It's a mighty fine production number in the show, and you're singing it as a single here. How do you feel that it explains these kids?
Well, I feel that it shows why the kids go in for gangs and the closeness that they get from this feeling and from being a member of a gang. There's a line in the show that I talked to Larry about. And it goes something like, "Oh, without a gang, you're an orphan."
Yeah, there's another line in the song you just sang, the one that I marked here. You're a family man. You're never alone.
Yeah.
You got brothers around, which is the quality. Do you feel, Jerry, in doing work on this and in writing, planning the show, having a concept of the show, do you feel that these boys and girls on the streets have a deeper need for acceptance than any other group?
No, I think every kid needs acceptance. The only thing is that these gangs don't feel accepted any place, and therefore they make their own group and their own world, and to feel secure in that.
I see. Do you feel that, Larry, you dropped out of this group and so forth before the show begins? Did you feel, does this indicate in any way that you think, as a character or as yourself, that you feel these gangs are a bad thing?
No, I don't think the gangs are a bad thing at all. As far as a gang, I know Mickey and I were talking that gangs, as he said, is kind of a misrepresentation as far as I'm concerned. I've been in many boys' clubs myself and had the same connection with 15, 16 guys, and we hung around together, and we had a tremendous closeness, and we did everything somebody else did, we did, as a unity and as one.
I know that Mickey said earlier, when we were discussing the same thing, he said gang is a violent word, and I think he has a point there. There's a tendency in using this word to think in bad terms, in negative terms about these groups. Maria, or rather Carol, I don't want to leave you out. We really should, as a lady, have you first, shouldn't we? But I'd like to ask you about the part that you play and some of your feelings about it. Maria, the Puerto Rican girl.
Well, Maria is the counterpart of Juliet in Shakespeare. She's a young Puerto Rican, just arrived a month ago. She has no knowledge of the gang. She is not a part of them, although her brother is the leader of the Puerto Rican gang. And all she wants is to become a part of America, to be a young lady in America. And she wants to love. She's the adolescent part. She's growing into a woman. And she is already betrothed to a man that she does not love. And at the dance at the gym, she sees and falls in love at first sight with Tony. And it happens that he's on the other gang, the other side. Not really, but that is his loyalty. And that is the only thing that she does wrong. And because of that, they are the victims.
In the show, as Tony, you are killed, caught in the midst, you and Maria, caught in the midst of this thing. Why is it you've left the gang? Could you tell us something about that? Why is it you dropped out of the gang?
Well, my dropping out has just been, of course, very recent. And the gang meant an awful lot to me, as Rick did and everybody. But there's so much out of life that I felt I haven't seen, that I haven't reached. And I was just looking for something more out of life than just hanging around with the gang, which is, is fine. But I needed something more. I needed something more.
Well, there's summing up that feeling and being caught by the lyrics, by the music, and all the rest of the whole atmosphere of the show is a song that I'd like you to sing for us.
I'd love to.
Would you? All right. Something's coming, I believe is the name.
Could be, who knows? There's something due any day. I will know right away, soon as it shows. It'd make 'em cannonballing down to the sky, gleaming its eye, bright as a rose. Who knows? It's only just out of reach, down the block on a beach, under a tree. I got a feeling there's a miracle due, gonna come true, coming to me. Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good, if I can wait. Something's coming, I don't know what it is, but it is gonna be great. With a click, with a shock, phone will jingle, door will knock, open the latch. Something's coming, don't know when, but it soon. Catch the moon, one-handed catch. Around the corner, or whistling down the river. Come on, deliver to me. Will it be? Yes, it will. Maybe just by holding still, it'll be there. Come on, something, come on in. Don't be shy, meet a guy, pull up a chair. The air is humming, and something great is coming. Who knows? It's only just out of reach, down the block on a beach, maybe tonight.
Jerry, do you really feel that something like falling in love, as Tony has in the show, actually would pull a boy, pull a guy out of a gang?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, I know it's so. With one of the gangs that I did some research on, leader of the gang last May was like Riffers, and when I just went over to see them again recently, found out that he's no longer with them. The reason is that he's fallen in love and has left the gang.
What do you suppose it is that does pull them out when they do fall in love? Is it?
I think they find an identity of their own and a very personal and close relationship with someone, and this love, it becomes a creative and positive force in their life rather than one of expressing hostility and defiance, which the gangs tend to do.
There's a lovely duet between Tony and Maria, which I think shows a beautiful quality of their relationship, transcending these barriers of race and of gang warfare and all the rest of it. And I think we ought to listen to it now. It's called Tonight.
Tonight.
Only you, you're the only thing I'll see forever.
I saw you, and the world went away. Tonight, tonight, there's only you tonight. What you feel, what you
I'm not afraid.
They are strict with me. Please.
I love you. Good night, good night. Sleep well, and when you dream, dream of me.
We've talked sort of generally, and of course with the kids in the cast about some of the meaning of this play. You did some research on it. Of course, it shows, and in the choreography, you're catching the tension and the whole quality of this the teenage group that we're dealing with. What I believe there's a word you used one time. You said they speak from their world to ours. So what was the meaning? What did you mean when you said that?
Oh, well, when I talked with them, I was struck at first by the, well, equality is the wrong word, but the authority and security with which they spoke to me. Yet it was from over a wall. They made their own world. They lived within it, and they felt secure and confident in it. And they wanted no part of the adult world or the outside world. They had their own rules and their own ways and methods of coping with life.
Was that very, very amusing and very touching comedy number, or in it, Officer Krupke?
Yes.
In the show.
Yes, Officer Krupke is one of the highlights of the show, and it shows the comment by the teenagers on all the people who are trying to help them, the psychiatrist, the social worker, the benign judge, and it's done with a kind of bitter humor.
I guess it really is kind of a reaction to people who try to help them, thinking of them as, quote, juvenile delinquents instead of people.
Instead of people.
I think I got that feeling from it very strongly, that this was a commentary on a kind of impersonal society trying to do things for them without really any love and concern for them as individuals.
Yes, they attempt to pigeonhole and make a cliche out of the human values.
You know, I know the theater, of course, doesn't provide the answers, and one of our purposes in this program is to show, however, that the theater can show a situation, can ask questions. And I'd like to put you on the spot and ask a question. One of them is, what do you think that can be done in this situation you've mirrored in this show so beautifully? What do you feel can be done by society? No, I think that's a better word, by you and by me to kind of rectify this situation.
Well, that is a big question. And my own personal feelings is that what is happening today with teenagers and the gangs and the warfare is a outlet of something much bigger than anything that you and I can deal with. I think it's a result of these kids finding themselves in a world which threatens them constantly and gives them no security. A world in which H-bomb and total destruction is bandied about all the time. A world in which, through public investigations, etc., there seems to be corruption everywhere. On the other hand, dangled in front of their eyes are great big giveaway shows and freedoms, and they don't know where to turn. I don't think that one can do something. I think they're like a plant, which is, the seeds have been planted long ago. The growth is there. You can't suddenly expect it to be a fir tree when it's an elm.
Well,